UNF in 2008 with her bachelor's degree in political science and her minor in public administration. While serving as a student leader here at UNF in multiple areas, including student body president, she developed her passion for community engagement. After graduation, she went on to teach elementary education, where she was involved as the grade level chair and a member of the school's leadership team. Ms. Tutwiler recently accepted a position as community engagement in the Jacksonville Public Education Fund. And what that does is basically they mobilize the community in support of higher quality public education to focus on high school students to make sure that when they graduate, they have the skills and knowledge they need to be successful in college and the job market. Her involvement in community affairs includes her position on the executive committee of the NAACP, as well as serving as coordinator of the Youth Black Intellectuals Program at the Ritz Youth Institute. With her past experience as student leader and her professional experience, as well as her volunteering in the community, Ms. Tutwiler brings the Summit a unique view on leadership in the community and beyond. So if we could all just give her a round of applause. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you guys so much for being here today. I was joking with all of the people who I know for the most part. I still know some people, you guys are probably seniors now, but the faculty and staff, I'm like, this is fabulous. We got the Student Leadership Summit going, and of course, you know, the campus continues to really develop in a phenomenal way. But thank you guys so much for coming out to the Student Leadership Summit and for choosing Leadership on Campus and Beyond to be one of your sessions. I'm Rachael Tutwiler, UNF alum, class of 2008, and I'm really just thrilled to be here with you all on today. Some of you may have come here with very specific questions that you hope to have answered about, you know, you might have come here thinking, what is a leadership repertoire? How do I develop my own? How do I become a leader on campus? For those of you who are already really involved on campus, you might be wondering, how do I translate my leadership on campus to the real world? And how do I navigate the complexities of this busy, crazy world that we live in? And I know that all of you have to be wondering at this point in time, how do I continue to let my light shine after graduation? In the midst of this, what we know as the recession, especially. Some of you guys might not have come here with questions, and you might be just open and ready for any new information that you might encounter and just to reflect on leadership practices. Either way, I hope you remain open. Be a sponge of taking everything that you'll hear throughout the day. And immediately just walk away. I have journals galore at home. And I just encourage you to really reflect on everything that you hear and how it's going to translate into your own leadership trajectories and the path that you're soon to walk down. Specifically from this session, my goal in the stuff that I've kind of come prepared to talk about is to help you leave with fresh ideas about the leader that you are today, the leader that you're destined to be. And more than that, I hope you leave with a deeper understanding of how your leadership journey, your leadership story, and your leadership destiny is uniquely your own, and it is distinct. It's not like anybody else's. So with that stated, let's get started. I like to just start with a quick poem. I'm really into storytelling and poetry and all that good stuff. But I recently was doing some other stuff, and I just kind of ran across this poem on leadership, and it's called Leadership. Leaders are called to stand in that lonely place between the no longer and the not yet, and intentionally make decisions that will bind, forge, move, and create history. We are not called to be popular, not called to be safe. We are not called to follow. We are the ones called to take risks. We are the ones called to change attitudes, to risk displeasures. We are the ones called to gamble our lives for a better world. And that was written by Mary Lou Anderson in 1970. It's really brief, but first of all, I just really wanted to point out that there's a lot of misnomers about leadership. People kind of have, leadership is kind of a broad term, and people leave it to their own interpretation. But oftentimes, I think when people think about leadership, they think about it in association with some type of position or a title. And I found in my reflection on life thus far, and by the examples of those who I look to in history as leaders, that leadership is not really defined by popularity, nor by the choices that everyone has made, and certainly not by the path that everybody has already walked down. Rather, leadership is defined by identifying something that you believe in, something that you stand for, and investing a great deal of your time, talent, and treasure into making it better. In defining leadership, I just want to start by emphasizing that there's a big, huge difference in between actually being a leader and having a leadership position. Both of them are great things, but think about that for a minute. Being a leader versus having a leadership position. In my opinion, one of those things is really more so the prerequisite to the other. We have a lot of people that are in positions of leadership, but whether they're really exhibiting or doing the character of leaders is a totally different story. And I think when we think about the leadership practices that we want to carry out into the world, we have to start by really thinking about, what are the characteristics or things that I have to have down pat before I even start walking in my path of leadership. Raise your hand if you could think of somebody who that's in a leadership position but might be lagging effectiveness because they don't necessarily exhibit the things that you think are in the essence of a true leader. That's awesome. Your hand is not up. I think you're telling a story. I'm just kidding. But when I think about leadership, I think about movement, I think about innovation, I think about change and progress. I think about the people who have come before us in time and might even still be among us. Some names that kind of come to mind are Albert Einstein and George Washington, John F. Kennedy, Michelle, especially for those of you who didn't know she was here yesterday. I was heartbroken because I didn't get to go. But Michelle and Barack Obama, Dr. Martin Luther King, our most recently lost Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Cornel West, and others who really left an undeniable imprint in history. If you're like me, then perhaps your desire to lead and to continue to cultivate it as leaders is interconnected with great leaders who you look up to and who you identify with. In fact, I'm going to ask, because I really don't want to just kind of talk throughout the session, but I really want you guys to reflect in it as well. So I'm going to just ask you to take a second and think about a leader who you look up to and think about the ways that they exemplify leadership. Just one person. I'm sure you have about 50 of them kind of floating through your mind. But just think of one person who you're like, that is what it means to be a leader. And I know this because I know they exemplify leadership in this way. Okay? Now we're going to just take like a couple minutes, and I want you to turn to one of your shoulder partners, somebody sitting next to you, and share with them, one, the name of the leader who you think highly of, two, three different ways or qualities that they have which causes them to exemplify leadership, and three, your definition of effective leadership. So think of this person, how they exemplify leadership, and in what ways you think it needs to be effective. And if you don't know somebody in here, it's okay, because you can get to know somebody new today.